Rob and Brun are both going to check every week, and then we're going to roll the intro and start from there. So we're going to get on and test that way to make sure we're good. But it sounds good, so we are going to kick this sucker off. So here we go.
All right.
All right.
And 3, 2,
All right.
1, intro.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Xbox Live episode 314. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. No, I mean, get your pre-orders. This is Mark, aka Wingman 709, coming at you live and leveled with my other two buddies, Mr. Brun.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully, my audio. I should be loud in everybody's ears right now.
Not
So,
overly
I
loud.
I should sound normal. Hopefully, my normal loud self. But yes, Brun, BJ Swick 33. How's everybody doing tonight?
And also with us is Rob. Hopefully
Also
equally as
on-
loud.
Also on the level. We're all on the level. I am Rob, also known as Presar on Xbox Live. Hello, hello.
All right. So, yeah, this is episode 314. Get your pre-orders. That's what if I didn't know what else to say. It seems like every story was, this is available for pre-order. This is available for pre-order. This is available for pre-order. It's like,
I think you just did the news, so we can skip it.
Yeah.
we're done. All right, we're out of
Well,
here.
thanks, everybody.
Oh, we do need to make it short because Walking Dead is back tonight. So
I already watched it.
don't even say a word.
So, if you guys remember,
Brun just got fired. You ruined the game by telling us that Lee was a zombie. Okay.
Is that what he's going to say about the show? He's like, Lee and Rick are zombies.
yeah, no, that's not it.
Oh.
But I couldn't believe what they did. I just,
All right.
No,
So
I'm just kidding.
visit us at thisxboxlife.com. And as always, as you guys do an awesome job, please continue to support us by doing your shopping at Amazon.com using our affiliate link, which you can go in the U.S., thisxboxlife.com/Amazon, or go to our website and click the Amazon link there, and it will direct you to our affiliate page that is closest to you based on your region. So if you're in the UK, it'll take you to the Amazon.uk site. And we appreciate all that you guys are doing to support the show. All right. Before we go into anything, just wanted to give a quick, brief little let you know kind of what we're doing. We've heard your complaints of the audio. Please understand it's more annoying to us than it is to you. I know that doesn't sound right because you guys are the ones listening to it. It is driving us insane. It's something we've been trying to figure out for a long time. We spent a lot of hours this weekend trying to figure things out. We tested other systems even. We are going to continue to go with what we're doing, but we did make some few minor tweaks. We've adjusted some different levels. It's just not an easy thing. I know people are saying it should be simple to do. It's not a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
And let me explain why. Because one week everything works. The next week, two people are real quiet. And nothing has changed on anybody's end. Because we don't go in and mess with our settings. You know, it's set. That's the way it is. So it's not anything that we're doing or changing. So it's been real hard to nail down.
Yeah, because I mean, we're using Skype. We're using a piece of software to kind of tie everything in together. It's all going to Twitch and YouTube. It's just so many components that I guess if any one of those things gets a little wonky, it kind of ruins everything.
So what we're going to do is, those of you that hopped in right away, you saw us kind of chatting back and forth. So every week we are going to do a pre-test. We're going to start the show. We're going to spend a couple minutes of talking of random stuff, whatever. And Rob and Brun are going to take turns listening to the audio while they're muted. Make sure that everybody sounds clear. Once I get the go-ahead from both those guys, we're good. Then we're going to roll the show from that point on. So you'll get a few minutes of pre-show, if you will. But that's how we're going to try to self-check. But for now, we're going to continue with the same stuff. But our audio right now, according to my other two guys here, we're good to go. And
And you know what? Can we blame the people in the chat if it's bad?
I think we can
Can
from last week.
yeah.
Because I don't know why everybody said last week we sounded great, and we didn't. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Someone else on our Facebook that was in the chat last week said, "You guys were great last week." And I'm like, "No, we weren't," because I heard the Twitch replay and it was horrible. So
Were they lip
I don't
readers?
know. I don't know what happened, man.
They're reading our lips. That's what it was. They weren't
I don't-
actually listening.
So
And then they got us yelled. They got us yelled at. We got an email of somebody who was not very happy.
I hope he comes back. I hope he
Yeah.
doesn't drop us. I hope people do come back. But we understand. We understand.
Yeah.
I mean, that is unlistenable, and it's happened several times. And some people said drop the video. And we have talked about doing that because the audio is the number one thing, period. We're trying to expand the show by doing the video, giving you guys some entertainment. We want to try to entertain you guys and branch the show out in different ways. So, we're going to try to keep doing this, but if we, we've all tested today, everything sounds great. If we go and make our highlight of this and the audio's all messed up, then this will be the last audio. This will be the last
Yeah.
video we ever do.
Yeah.
But everything sounds good in the live stream at the moment. So we will see where it goes from here. So anyways, enough of that. We apologize. We know it's been a pain and we've been trying to track it down. Hopefully the things we did this weekend will finally put things to rest. We did try, like I said, there's a couple tweaks we did. We're launching applications in a different order. Maybe that had something to do with it because the apps that we have to use are very finicky. So far so good. We'll see what happens. Still, we can't put no video in. I'll tell you that. But all right. So enough of that. Thank you guys for sticking with us, anyways. So let's just move on to what you really came to hear about, and that's what have we been playing. And Rob, it looks like you've actually played some video games this week.
Hey, come on. I'm always playing video games now. I mean, you're talking about the Rob from 2 years ago.
And okay. Let me. Then what's your gamer score?
It is probably at least 3 or 4 times what it was last.
I gotta
last
look
year.
this one up because what I think
It's like 9,000 now. I was
whoa,
at 3,000 for a long time.
whoa, 9,000.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Right on, my brother.
Oh man, you're almost into the 10,000 club,
I know.
and you've had your Xbox longer than me.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Hey, I bet you can't say that in the last year you've like tripled your gamer score.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
right.
Wow. Jeez.
I'd
Yeah,
be like
that'd
600,000 or something. I'm closing in on 200.
That'd be crazy.
Anyway, so this week I played some Disney Infinity and more Forza Horizon 2. I've been taking a very slow road, bada boom, on Forza Horizon 2. I've been collecting all of those experience boards and those other boards and doing all of the different what do you call them, the bucket lists. And last week, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about the one, it was bucket list number 13, where you're driving through the forest. You're driving through the forest, trying to get over to the Forza Horizon thing, whatever. And you're running that bowler.
The bowler.
Bowler, yeah, the bowler one. Because there's another one where you're going through the forest as well. I believe it's number 12. And I was just stuck for days on that. And I remember when I mentioned it, it didn't seem like a big deal to anybody, or at least to you, Mark. And I think I figured out why. All of these that I play without that little line, the green and red
Oh.
arrows.
You gotta turn that on, dude, for those off-road races and stuff.
I finally figured that out. I'm like, because at that point, I'm literally like trying to find the best route versus following the arrows. So when I was doing number 12, after, I don't know, probably like 20 attempts at it, because going through if you're going through the trees, you don't know where to go, and you never go the same way twice. So I finally turned it on, and I got down the mountain in like half the time, just the first time I did it. So I definitely think that's a big thing right there. And then I like to leave the lines turned off just so that I get the little extra. I think the lines take or the arrows take off about 10% of
True.
your bonus. So I turned it off afterwards, but I'm going to be using it on those forest ones from now on. And then played some more Disney Infinity with my son, and uh, I'm having I'm having an interesting situation with that. And well, let me explain. So, I used Disney Infinity to kind of introduce him into video games, kind of like the big boy games, because he had Disney Infinity for a while in his 3DS, and he's 6 years old, by the way. I thought I'd mention that real quick. So, he's had Disney Infinity on his 3DS for a while, and if anybody's ever played that on a 3DS, it's really not like the full blown Disney Infinity that you have on the other consoles, because the 3DS version is just like a little very simplified toy box. It's like these little mini games. It's about it. Where when you play on the Xboxes and PlayStations and such, you have actual missions. It's more than just the toy box. You have an environment like the city for the Incredibles, and then there's this whole adventure area also for the pirates and such. So we've been playing this for a while, and it's gotten to the point of where he wants to play it every day. And I understand, and I definitely understand that. But he's having temper tantrums when we don't play, and he wants to play it even without me. Now I know, Mark, you've had your kids play your Xboxes and such. Did you ever run into that?
No,
No.
no. Thankfully not.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I want to play, I'll play without daddy. And, he goes to my wife, and then she's like, well, I'm going to set it up without you. And I see it from the standpoint of, that's my console, first of all. It's for adults. And when I play with him, it's supervised. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
supervised play.
Right.
And he's got his 3DS, and I basically said, if you want to play Incredibles or whatever, Infinity, you can play it on your 3DS. But tonight, I can't play with you because I was really tired from work. I just wanted to relax. And it became a problem to the point of where I basically said, hey, look, if you're going to continue crying, I can't keep the 360 out. So it actually got to the point, and I even talked to my wife about it, of I got to take it down. And it's I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted. I don't want to take it down. I don't want to take away the time that we're going to have, but if it's going to create a bad situation at home with temper tantrums and stuff when we're not playing, it's definitely not a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I something I did with my wife, or my wife and I decided to do with our youngest son.
Yeah.
He was struggling with. We use it as a incentive, actually.
Yeah.
All of my kids have a 3DS. My youngest one struggles with homework. And school's a little harder for him. The other two are like brainiacs.
Okay.
And but he struggles. But he's always kind of fighting with my wife about doing it, and he does it really well for me.
Hmm.
Dad, like, dad means business. They seem to
Yeah.
snap to attention when dad walks in the room. But when it's like with mom, it's like, oh, it's a free for all, it's a party.
Yeah.
So I said, and I was hearing the stuff go on, and him throwing his temper tantrums. So I went and bought him the new Skylanders, not Trap Team, but the
Because that's the
Swap
newest
Force.
one. Yeah.
I bought him Swap Force Skylanders for his 3DS, and I said, you can only play this on school nights after you've completed your homework. And you can't fight with mom about it. You can't fight with dad about it. You have to come home and complete it without arguing and do all your homework, and then we'll give you time that night to play. Dude, it's
Okay.
been like every day he comes home, and if like my wife's not here, he will come right up to my office. He doesn't care if I'm on a call or nothing. Dad, I got my homework. Can you help me? I mean, he wants to do it right then and there.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
Yeah.
funny.
and it's been huge. It's like He's doing it every day. He wants to do his homework now. And he doesn't fight us on the weekends. He knows that it's now he can play his DS other times, but the game he wants to play is, we bought it specifically for homework incentive, and it's worked real well.
Oh wow. Okay.
As for the issue you got, the kids have a Wii and the PS3 downstairs,
Right.
but they don't ever really play it. They mainly just play their DSs. The 360s are in my office. I've got games that they can play. They just, you know, sometimes they
Yeah.
just don't, I don't know. I think it's because they're in my office and they know this is Dad's room. They're not allowed to come in here
Right.
unless I invite them in. They just they kind of. I don't think they ask that much. There's a lot they would.
Yeah.
But if I turned it on and let them play, they'd play all day, man.
Oh yeah.
So
And I was thinking for my son where he's got his 3DS, it's available at any time that he wants it. Whereas this 360 and the Xbox One, they're kind of like dad's toys. They're like the really cool systems, so
right.
there's an appeal to them, especially if it's something that he can't play whenever he wants.
See, I would say
So there's
try
that
to
draw.
try to turn it around if you can, and let him earn his time to play the Disney Infinity on the 360. That way,
Z-
if you guys set up like ground rules, say this is what you have to do. You have to do your homework, or you have to do, clean your room, or whatever. If he's struggling with something, say this is how you're going to get this time back, because it's like our kids all know everything is a privilege. It's not a right.
Right.
And I know, Rob, you and I are the same salt there. Brun probably as
Mhm.
well. It's not, and I see that even with my kids. It's like there's something about it where my kids they don't get everything. I mean, they have to earn it. They have to, we raise them that not everything's a give me. But there's something about the world today and society that it's like kids think that they're entitled to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, where are you getting this? And it's all these outside influences. So we're, trying to teach them all these different things. It's like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, I know we have people that listen that might be younger than 20 and stuff like that, but I feel, I'm older than 20, obviously, but I feel like the 20 and under groups feel entitled for everything.
oh
Like,
man, here comes the hate
easily,
mail.
easily offended.
Send it to
Do
Brun.
do not want to work for, I'm not, it's not everybody. I'm not going to generalize everybody, but it just seems like what you hear about is they're all easily offended. They want everything handed to them. If they feel like they don't get something, it's like it's somebody else's fault. They never want
Well,
to take credit for
There's
you
people
know
our
anything.
age that fit in that group too, Brun.
True,
There
true,
are,
there
in all
is.
honesty. But yes, I know what
Yeah.
you're saying, and I agree. There's a lot of people these days that just, man,
I never knew what happened. Like if you wanted something,
you work for
go
it.
work for it.
Yeah.
I just don't know where that mentality went to.
Why do
It's
I
just
have
like
to do the dishes?
it's just like, oh, you mean I have to actually go try to get a job? You mean like there isn't a job with my name on it that I can, that is just mine? It's like, no. And it's like, well, mom, dad, can you go get me a job? It's like, no, you go out and get yourself a job. I mean, I have my oldest, he's in college. He's going around place to place, going for a second job, not replacing his job. He's going for a second job because he wants some things. And it's just like, hey,
That's how you
and
get
he's
'em.
going out. Yeah. He's going out there and trying to get something. So,
All right, well,
but
we need to.
Yep.
We went way too long
Yeah.
on this, and we're getting way off topic. We need to get back
Yeah.
it on video games. So,
okay.
um,
All right.
yeah, sorry.
So I'm
Twitch,
done. I'm
Twitch
done.
is running. Twitch is running just fine, right? I have like a delay, like it's just paused for me. That's just my side, right?
It looks good. It's still running for me. I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm seeing comments and people are talking about the entitlements and stuff
Yeah, I
and
see
responding in the chat. So,
I see the comments. I might have to just refresh my browser, but
so
all right, I'll do that while I'm. Is it my turn?
yeah. Unless
Okay.
I think you're done, right, Rob?
I'm all done. Yeah.
All right.
We're cutting them off.
Wow, that was 20 minutes for two games. I have four. I have 4 games, so we're gonna be here till midnight.
So much for the short show.
Yeah. So, well, I'll keep mine short. Um, of course, I played Diablo 3. I leveled. I think I'm up to 60 on everything. I've been kind of doing this and that, having some fun. I played Battlefield 4 today, which was the first time I've played it since the latest patch. Um, Feels good, plays well. I like some of the updates definitely for the medic because I am a medic.
Medic.
Yep, played some Elite Dangerous because beta 2.05 is out. Looks good, plays good. The game's fantastic. They've made it a little bit bigger. They've opened up the universe a little bit more. The last game I played some Destiny. So I'm up to level, I think 14. I got to get over that 15 hump, but I am playing on my 360, and I've been playing with Nighthawk 70. He's a member of the community. And he's playing with me Saturday, and he was getting the itch because the day before or 2 days before he ordered himself an Xbox One.
Yeah.
So he made the leap to the current gen, and he was all excited, and he used our link to buy
even
his
better.
Xbox One.
Dude, hold on, I gotta mark him down as a favorite.
Yes. So Nighthawk 70. I even told him, I said, hey, you better be snapping that Twitch program, Twitch on your Xbox One and watching the show and taking part tonight. But he moved up to that. So he actually, he bought Destiny on the 360, so he gets it on the Xbox One for free. And his, your stuff goes up and transfers. But he actually verified it transfers back and forth. So he can play on the Xbox One, and then if I want to play, because I'm still on the 360, he can actually jump on his 360 and not lose anything. He gets all the stuff that he gained on the Xbox One will be on the 360. Anything on the 360 will be on the Xbox One. He said it transfers back and forth, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, played that. So I was actually I was asking, does anybody play on the 360? Because I was kind of thinking of playing some after the podcast is over. But maybe I'll just go to bed. So, but that's all I had.
All right. So that's me. I played this week. I did play some Diablo 3 as well, and they have some nice bonus XP going on. I got my Crusader up a couple more levels. I think I got it up to 67 or 68. So
Nice.
getting pretty close to having my second character at level 70. Played some Forza Horizon 2, obviously. Also played some Dead Rising 3. Well, tried to. Got another friend of mine on my friends list that just got their Xbox One. Wanted to run through that, but was having some delays due to installing time. So we'll hopefully be able to play some this week. But I still ended up running around playing a little bit, just slaying zombies. It's like, oh, I missed this game. Tried some Trials Fusion because the new DLC came out this week, and I have the season pass for that. So I did a couple of tracks. Played, obviously, Defense Grid 2, which I absolutely love. And I also did play a little Destiny, got roped into that the other night, playing some of that. So I'm stuck at level 27. I'm like so close to 28, but I just can't seem to... Man, if I could just get that legendary special weapon, I'll get the achievement, and that would probably push me over the edge to 28. But I just don't want to grind anymore, man. I'm tired of the grind. So, but that's it for me. So, time for the news.
Flash is a TV
This
show.
just in. Breaking news. Hey, there goes my
Flash.
lovely wife.
All right, so let's get on with the news. First up, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It has free cross-generational upgrades for owners of the digital edition. Hear that carefully, digital edition. Buy the 360 version and get the Xbox One version free, essentially as a bonus. Disc owners are out of luck. You got to get the digital edition to take part in this. So I like to get the discs because they're cheaper usually after a little while. Those of us that like discs are out of luck. You got to get the
Wah, wah,
digital
wah.
version. However, not however, in addition, cross-generational support includes Season Pass and DLC between the two, which is
Nice.
very, very cool. Then Phil Spencer announced that themes and customization are coming to the Xbox One. There's no news specifically when that's going to happen, but you can look forward to themes, customization, and screenshots coming in the near future. Well, I don't know if it's near future, sometime in the future. Sunset Overdrive has gone gold. It's now available for pre-order, hence the show title, and pre-download.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Day one bonus includes the following. Here's the day one bonus items. There's Nothing But the Hits, which is an overcharged version of the high fidelity gun that launches limited edition, priceless, multicolored vinyls that do increased damage. Then there's something called It's Me Fizzy. Fizzy is more popular than you because he has a great marketing budget. So why not dress up as him and get some of that fame? Interesting. Hardcore Hammer. You ponder buying the day one edition of Sunset Overdrive. A spot check reveals that if you do, you can equip a mighty hammer made from a bat and spiked dumbbells. You buy the day one edition of Sunset Overdrive. Additional pre-order bonus items on Xbox Live include the Accords de la Muerte, which they describe as give me a K, give me an I, give me a guitar with melting candles on it, melee weapon that can bash in the skulls of my vilified enemies. Okay. The Hangover. Show how much you like to party with this melee weapon made out of beer cans and an electrified pitchfork. Where do they get this stuff? All right. Then Sunset Overdrive Season Pass, $20. I guess that's pretty much most season passes nowadays, 20 or $30. And then Sunset Overdrive Season Pass gives you 2 campaign game add-ons that deliver new locations to explore, stories to experience, and bosses to battle. Each of these add-ons also includes new weapons, new amps, a new trap, new character outfits, as well as new challenges and Chaos Squad objectives. Then the Weapons Pack game add-on also includes 4 deadly new weapons to augment your arsenal. And then there's a bonus 6 character outfits, 2 amps, and 2 traps to use as the game is released. All right, moving on. Evolve closed big alpha is coming soon, coming at the end of the month. It's going to be on Halloween weekend, starts on October 30th and runs through November 2nd. The pre-order folks are guaranteed a spot in this. The game will be launching in February 10th, 2015. So the game will be launching a little ways after, about 3 months later. Wait, 3.5 months later. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is available for pre-download and all that good stuff.
Hey, did you just skip a story?
I don't know what was it.
Weren't you just on Evolve?
Yes. Oh, yes, I did. EA Sports NBA Live 15 is now available for pre-order, pre-download, all that good stuff. It releases on October 28th. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is now available for pre-download, pre-order, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Its release is November 3rd. Trials Fusion.
Is that November 3rd? Because if you buy that Day Zero edition, you get it a day early.
Okay.
So is that the day early, or is that the Tuesday release date?
I don't remember. Let's see here.
Oh, look, you can continue.
The 3rd is Monday, so the 4th is the real release date. But yeah, the Day Zero, you get it a day early.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
I got it already.
Trials Fusion has a new DLC titled Abyss. It's a third DLC pack. It includes 10 new tracks, 24 challenges, 5 achievements, and a bunch of new stuff for your track editor. Then moving on, Forza Horizon for the 360 will not share DLC with the Xbox One. Studio folks say we are currently planning to release DLC only for the Xbox One version of Forza Horizon 2, said the Forza community manager Brian Ekberg. He said also Forza rewards benefits are only available in the Xbox One version of Forza Horizon 2. This means that the 360 players will not receive Forza reward credits or cars. Then Shadow Warrior is going to be on Xbox One on October 21st. This is an offshoot of the Duke Nukem series that was originally released back in 1997. Although they say this is not just a simple remake of the 1997 release, but also includes more goodness. So it's not the same. It's the same, but not the same. Or the same, but more. However you want to look at it. Disney Fantasia Music Evolved is available for pre-order and pre-download. Release on October 21st. Man, those last couple of weeks are just going to be slamming with stuff.
Yeah.
Sunset Overdrive. The people that pre-order Sunset Overdrive from the Xbox Live Marketplace will earn 2 additional weapons, which we just mentioned. The Hangover, which is a series of beer cans on a pitchfork, and here we go with this thing again, the Acordes de la Muerte. I like saying that. Which is described as a guitar with melting candles on it, melee weapons that can bash in the skulls of your vilified enemies. Additionally, those who play Sunset Overdrive on launch day will pick up a costume of the game's foul-mouthed yet adorable mascot, Fizzy, along with 2 more weapons. If you spend $80 for the day one digital deluxe version of Overdrive, you'll take home all of that other stuff, as well as the season pass. The season pass normally costs $20, which I believe we covered a little bit ago. There's no specific time frame for when the season pass will receive its promised downloadable content, but they will include a handful of additional costumes, 2 new traps, 2 new additional amps, which are essentially permanent enhancements that grant your character new abilities, stuff like weapon experience pickups and ability to smite enemies with divine fury. And Sunset Overdrive is going to be launching on October 28th, which is the same day as NBA Sports Live, or NBA Live 15. Then Dive Kick is now available for Xbox One. That is heralded as what, the 2-button fighting game? So I guess you can.
No,
This is a good game for me because I can just mash those 2 buttons instead of mashing the 2 buttons and moving the stick. And then also Styx, Master of Shadows, no relation to the band, I guess, is available also for Xbox One. So those were 2 releases that came out this past week. Dive Kick and Styx, Master of Shadows. And that's it for the news today.
Yay! Woo!
Yay!
Good job.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
it was longer than a minute, but it happened.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the news is the news.
All right. So for the roundtable, 2 things here. The first one is I'm going to read an article. I found it rather interesting and some stuff I didn't realize. We've talked about, there's a lot of the controversy about 30 frames versus 60 frames per second and 900p versus 1080p, and supposedly everybody kind of tends to think the larger the number, the better. But that may not be the case. And so there was an article out on TotalXbox.com. This is the official Xbox magazine over website, but I think it's over in the UK because that's where that magazine's out of now. But so there's an article about Ubisoft, basically saying that the games industry is collectively moving away from 60 frames per second. So let me read this article, and we can discuss what we think. So, running a game at 60 frames a second isn't just a technical chore, according to Assassin's Creed Unity developers. It can actually damage your suspension of disbelief. At Ubisoft, for a long time, we wanted to push 60 frames per second. World level design director Nicholas Guerin explained to Tech Radar recently. I don't think that it was a good idea because you don't gain that much from 60 frames a second, and it doesn't look like the real thing. It's a bit like the Hobbit movie. It looked really weird. And in other games, it's the same, like the Ratchet and Clank series, where it was dropped. So I think collectively in the video game industry, we're dropping that standard because it's hard to achieve. It's twice as hard as 30 frames per second, and it's not really that great in terms of rendering quality of the picture and the image. The Hobbit, in case you didn't know, was filmed at 48 frames per second, twice the usual rate for a blockbuster movie. That I didn't even realize that. I was surprised at. So, blockbuster movies are only filmed at 24 frames a second. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I kind of found that
Yep.
interesting. It's director Peter Jackson has insisted that 48 and 60 frames per second will become the norm in cinema, but not everybody is convinced. As this Hollywood Reporter piece surmises, higher frame rates are expensive and may either go unnoticed or negatively impact the quality of the production, throwing flaws, for example, obviously artificial props, into stark relief. In terms of game design, higher frame rates may benefit multiplayer shooters. The smoother the performance, the more closely the action reflects each player's abilities. This also eats up system resources that could be devoted to things like AI or texture resolution. However, and as Unity's creative director Alex Manico argues, some genres may benefit from running it at a slower tick. 30 was our goal. It feels more cinematic, he told the site. 60 is really good for shooter, action, adventure. It's really good for shooter. Action, adventure, not so much. It actually feels better for people when it's at 30 frames a second. That also lets us push the limits of everything to the maximum. It's like when people start asking about resolution. Is the number of the quality of the pixels that you want? If the game looks gorgeous, who cares about the number? And all this follows a controversy about parity between versions of Assassin's Creed Unity. It's claimed by fans that the game has been compromised on certain platforms. Ubisoft has confirmed that Unity runs at 30 frames a second and 900p on all consoles, but has suggested that this may change before release. So, what do you guys think? The 30 frames a second versus 60 frames a second. Do you think it? I mean, I was surprised. I was kind of surprised to hear this because I thought, oh, everybody's got to go to 60 frames a second, 1080p. And then when I found out that movies are only going at 24 frames a second, I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah. Well, all that means to me is that the PlayStation is better than every movie.
Well, there you go.
Yes. Nobody no PlayStation fan in their right mind would watch any movies now because it's not 1080p 60 frames a second. But I never knew that's what the frame rate of a movie was. I do understand where he was saying that The Hobbit kind of looks weird because it kind of does look funky in some places, like almost like it's faker than normal, I should say.
Yeah, it's like you go back to those old movies, like maybe in the 80s and the early 90s when green screens were just coming in, and you could tell when stuff was like when they weren't really in the scene. It was so obvious, And nowadays you can't really tell. I mean, it looks like they're really there. So I guess bumping it up starts to bring back some more of that. Yeah, you can tell it's a fake background or all computer generated.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, my one thing is, and it kind of goes like, Ubisoft, when they came out and they said that it's going to be, 30 frames a second, 900p on both systems. The first thing is that, the Xbox can't do it. So now the PlayStation people have to suffer. And they came out and said, no, this is just the way we have it. So this is where this whole uproar is coming about, where, obviously they're here to try to, you know, support their decision and what they did. They should just come out and say, oh, it's we couldn't get the Xbox to run that, so we're bringing down the PlayStation. That'd be easier just to tell the truth than to keep going over and over and over this stuff. But I'm wondering if that is the truth. Is it the 360 or not the 360 Xbox One that is actually holding them down or having them bring it down, or is it really honestly to make it look better? So to me, 30 frames, you can tell in shooters, you can tell in racing games. I will say you can tell in racing games as well. 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second. Anything that's super fast paced, like you want to probably shoot for that 60 frames a second. But in sports games and shooters and stuff, like, you don't care about the walls. What do the walls look like? You don't care about, what some of the buildings in the background looks like. Well, in something like Assassin's Creed, you care about what things look like. And it's not running fast paced. It's not running. You don't need to run at 60 frames a second. So I kind of understand this. Now, the 720p, 900p, 1080p, why is 900p not good? We go over this every time we hear this. Is like, is it really that 180p just like jaw dropping? Like, I have to have it. 900p. Oh, that's the IGN 3.6 horrible game.
It's beneath me.
Yeah. Yes. I have a PlayStation. I run a 1080p. Or
Well, not all their games do, as they find out. But
that's because those developers are just horrible programmers. So no, I mean, it's this whole thing.
Well, I like his statement in that article. If the game looks gorgeous, who cares about the number? And I've had people ask me which is better, and I'm like, well, it depends on your camp. The PlayStation people will say, oh, you got to have 1080p, and our games are better than Xbox One, but you're never gonna notice. It's like all these side by side videos. It's like, okay, if you're looking for it and you freeze it, and you're like, oh, yep, his helmet is shinier. Oh, I can see one extra thread in the stitching of that fabric on this one over that. Does it matter when you're going 90 miles an hour, shooting at everything and blowing stuff up? I mean, no, it doesn't. You'll never. There's so much. I've never seen anything that's like, wow, I would recognize that. It's always tiny little lighting or shadowing or shading things that you never will notice. So that's why I don't think it matters. It's just give us good looking games. I don't even care about the frames per second or as long as it's not, yeah, as long as it don't look like a slideshow
right.
and it runs smooth, who cares? I couldn't tell you if something runs at 30 or 60,
Yeah.
You could back on the PC. I know, Rob, there was, what was that, Fraps? People would run, and it would tell them their frame, and you could see, like, I remember Battlefield 2, man, at certain times, man, it would start to chop, and you'd see that number just drop.
Yeah, but that's when it would go down to, like, 11 frames per second.
Right. Mm-hmm. If you can keep
noticeable.
it 30, you're good. It doesn't matter.
Oh, Eagle Eye Rob, he can tell every difference in 1080 and 900. No, you talk about the PC world. Sorry, Rob. One more thing, you talk about the PC world and stuff. A lot of the games that I play, or the graphics card, I have my settings. I shoot for my shooters. I try to get them over 60 frames a second. So I'll run it. I can run ultra settings on Battlefield and hit like 64 frames a second. But if I knock it down to high, I get 79 frames a second. If I knock it down to medium, I get 110 frames a second. But my monitors only refresh at 60 frames a second. So it doesn't matter if I have 120 frames a second or 1080p or, it's just all limit on hardware and stuff. But you get all these people out here, what's some of the biggest PC games out there? Or what are some of the biggest Xbox One and Xbox games? You have Minecraft. Does it run at 60 frames a second, 1080p?
Would it matter?
Oh, well, obviously it does to everybody.
It's like 8-bit blocks. I mean,
exactly. And then you go and you look at like say DayZ. I was watching Ola from Battlefield podcast. He was playing DayZ, and I'm like, oh boy, those frame rates are horrendous, and the graphics are horrendous when you think about the game itself. But tons and tons and tons of people play it, and he was getting anywhere from 60 to 30 to 12 to 17 to 19 frames a second. And he's like, yeah, the frames are horrible in this game, but people continue to play it. So I mean, I just give me a good running game, that looks nice, and I'll play it.
Well, I think games like DayZ and Minecraft, and I'm sure there's several others out there, prove the point that it's not all about the P's, because people will. I mean, look at the Microsoft just bought Minecraft for what, $2 billion?
Yeah.
$2 billion. This is not a. That looks like a Nintendo Entertainment System game. I mean, come on. But people love it. It's fun. It doesn't matter if it's a fun game. People are gonna play it. Just it's so. I think people get tied up in all the techno jargon of some of this stuff. But Rob, you wanted to comment.
Yeah, I really don't remember what I was going to say, but
It worked. It worked, Brun.
Sorry.
yeah.
Well, I did have one more thing. If you're done.
No, I'm not done, but you can go ahead.
Oh, no, Dark Predator mentioned on here about Rise being at 900p, and saying it's the best looking game. Some of the guys on IGN said that so far the best looking game out on this current generation is Rise. They said it's the best looking. It's the best looking game.
It does look fantastic.
Yeah, and it's 900p. So it's doesn't matter. So, but sorry, go ahead, Rob. I'm done.
So we touched on a little bit ago where movies are all recorded at it's like just under 24 frames a second, I believe, and in America, television is just under 30. It's like 29.97 frames per second.
Yep.
So on a daily basis, everything you see on television is less than 30 frames per second, just slightly. And every movie that you've seen is at 24. That's been good enough for years. That's been good enough for everybody's lifetime. And here, all of a sudden, with games, more is better. And it just comes into that whole topic that we've, I think, almost beaten to death by now, of the frame rate, the pixels, and so forth. Bigger doesn't necessarily mean better, but people want big numbers for no other reason than just it's a bigger number. 1080 has got to be better than 900 because it's a bigger number. But when you think about it, in normal products, in normal consumer products, people don't buy things specific to specs. They buy them for other reasons. Like, and I'll use this example because I liked it. I liked it last time I used it. It's like you won't go to the store, or you won't go into like a fast food place and order a sandwich because it has more sesame seeds on it than another sandwich. I mean, things just don't work that way. You buy it for the experience. You buy it because you like the sandwich, or you like some part of it. You like it because it's a McRib. Hey, who knows? But the same thing for the games. This whole thing is just ridiculous, especially when the systems are close. 1080 and 900 is so close. 60 frames a second versus 30 frames a second. Are you really going to notice this? Okay, possibly in a first-person shooter. Maybe, okay? What is it going to give you? Is it going to give you a mind-altering experience or something like that? No. Just when you pan across the screen, it might be a little smoother. But you know what? Chances are you won't even notice because you're too into what's going on. You're too into dodging bullets. You're too into it.
You're focused on the guy in front of you that you're trying to shoot. And you're
Exactly.
not even
You
looking
know,
at everything else around you.
because I remember like when was it? Like a year or two ago when what was it? Was it Borderlands? It might have been Borderlands where they came out with some kind of patch or something that was going to give like all the fabrics a much better look to it. Do you remember that? Like stuff
I
looked
don't.
a lot better when it was in the, flapping in the breeze. Maybe that was just a
That was
computer
Tomb
thing.
Raider. Tomb Raider
No.
did it. The definitive edition of Tomb Raider, they upgraded it, and it was like her hair flaps in the breeze, and it was
Yeah.
all that was a huge thing with the Tomb Raider definitive
Right.
edition.
Well,
So, but it was like I went, and of course I bought it, but
yeah.
I loved the game, and I wanted to play it again on, have something
Yeah.
because it came out at the beginning of the cycle. So it's like, okay, I need something to play on my new console.
Exactly. Yeah.
But did I enjoy that version any more than the 360 version? No. It was the same experience to me. I could care less. I didn't notice her hair flapping in the breeze any more than
Exactly.
on the 360 where it didn't. I mean,
Exactly. Because,
it's
using
minor.
Tomb Raider as the example, when you're, let's say, like there's a couple scenes where she's like sliding down the side of a mountain in like a mud thing or whatever, and she's trying to dodge fences and trees and stuff like that. Are you going to notice her hair? No. Are you going to notice that the screens maybe doesn't have as much anti-aliasing or, bump mapping or, whatever graphics feature? Are you going to
Polygons.
notice that? Yeah. Are you going to notice that? Absolutely not. I mean, but when you sit there and you want to analyze the actual numbers, you're going to say, okay, yeah, 60 frames per second is better because of X, Y, and Z. It's much better than 30, or 100 frames a second are better than 60. But like Brun, you just mentioned, your monitor can't even display it. So who cares? What's the big deal?
Right.
It's just you have to have the hardware, and chances are, people are wired in a certain way that you can't even see it, like the retina screens on Apple devices. You have so many pixels in there the human eye can't even detect them anymore because there's so many of them. And I think that's like what, 250 pixels per inch or something. Like, I forget what the exact number is. If you put 800 pixels per inch, is it going to be any better? The eye can't detect it. No. So,
But that
here we
does
are
look
again.
beautiful.
Okay, yeah, no denying that. But it also, so like with the games, a game might look as good 60 frames a second, Minecraft in particular, I'm sure will look at great at 30 frames a second, and it'll look equally as good at 60 frames a second. And then this stuff is just, I mean, it's just something that I think is people are just running wild with it, just because when you look at the numbers, that it seems like a big deal, but in reality, it's not. And I'm not just saying that just because of people slamming the Xbox and me trying to pump it up a little bit, but
You're just
this
speaking
whole thing is
reality.
yeah, this whole thing is moot. It's just
Mhm.
ridiculous. It's literally, this stuff is now almost a year later from when the Xbox and the PS4 launched. Almost a year later. If this stuff is coming up still, it's purely clickbait online, I believe. The real gamers have moved on. It's just they're enjoying their systems. They're enjoying their Xbox Ones. They're enjoying their PS4s. They're enjoying their PCs with their crazy graphics cards. And that's what everybody should be doing instead of fighting over what's better.
Right.
I'm done.
True. All right.
I am going to count my sesame
Sesame
seeds, though.
seeds.
I'm going to start counting.
No, but I mean that's legit, isn't it? Like you don't buy something just because of numbers.
Right.
Well, unless one has more.
I do buy double cheeseburger to a single cheeseburger. So numbers
Yes.
do count.
But what if the single cheeseburger had more meat than a double?
Oh.
And sometimes double is too much. Like, you remember those double McRibs?
That's it. 1080p is just way too much. Whoo, can't take it all.
Yeah.
It's too many P's. All right. So let's move
Mhm.
on to our last roundtable discussion. And let me click my image so I can keep us on track here, and it's about our buddy Phil Spencer. And if you guys recall, there's an ID at Xbox parity clause, which Microsoft has currently in effect, and basically it kind of states that you can't launch like an indie title on another system. It has to come out on Xbox One first.
Or
Isn't
at
it
the
has
same
the
time.
same
or at
time.
the same time. So
Yep.
so here's the story. This was a story off of Joystick. It says the ID at Xbox parity clause, it requires any games to launch on Xbox One at the same time as other platforms, unless they already have an exclusivity deal. Is meant to make each Xbox One owner feel like a first-class citizen, according to Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. Quote, I look at all the people who buy an Xbox and they invest their time and their money in Xbox One, and as millions of people obviously own Xbox Ones, I want them to feel like they're first class because they are, Spencer said
Right on.
earlier this week on the Inner Circle, an Xbox oriented podcast. I don't want somebody to come in and just think I'm going to go do a special game on one platform and then I'll get to Xbox whenever I get to it. Because I don't think that's right, Spencer continued. But I also get that, hey, for some guys, they just can't afford the time to get both done. So we've just entered into conversations with people as they're launching, and I feel pretty good about the plan. Despite the positive sentiment shared, Spencer's statement on the podcast sparked a reaction thread on NeoGAF, which was generally unimpressed. When the thread was brought to his attention via Twitter, Spencer responded, I see the feedback on my stance on the clause. I want to rethink how we approach this. Responses are heard. So here's my thought on this whole thing. I think I his whole thing. I love Phil Spencer. All right, this guy has been awesome, and I think he's been great for this platform. I think he's going to really be great for this platform. But I
Yes.
thought his whole I want them to feel like first class citizens. I was like, what? I don't. This does not make me feel like a first class citizen. It's like that's not gonna do it, buddy. I think get rid of that and just help bring games to the platform. That's gonna make me feel more first class than some parody clause. I really thought that was a real cheesy response from him, and I was shocked that he said it because it just doesn't seem. It's like when I read it, I'm like, I don't see him saying that, but that's what he said. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think of this? Do you like the parody clause? Do you think we should get we? Do you think we, as Microsoft, should get rid of it? Do you think they should get rid of it?
Well, I kind of think of it like this for a second. Like, say I'm a hamburger shop, okay, and this person comes and says, I have the world's greatest hamburger and I want to sell it here. And you're like, oh, okay. And they say, but I'm also selling it at your competitor across the street. And you're like, well, okay, I want your sandwich, but all I ask is if you want to sell it in my 30 million stores, you have to start selling it the same time here that you sell it at my competitors, stores. That's the way I see, that's kind of what we're saying here. So we're not saying, oh yeah, sure, you can sell it at my stores. I don't care when you start selling it, and you go and you watch all the people going through the door at your competitor across the street store because he's selling his hamburger over there first. But yet you've given him, say you gave him, assets and all this stuff. Because my thing is like what they're saying is you sign up for ID at Xbox, they send you a console, a dev box. They're there to help you through bugs and fixes and things like that. And say you have an issue with your game and you call Microsoft and they help you with the issue, and all of a sudden you apply that fix to your PlayStation version of the game as well. Because say it's something in the core, it doesn't have to do anything between the systems, and then you go and you release it on the PS4. So basically, Microsoft just helped you release your game on the PS4. You know what I mean?
But let me flip it back to you this way.
Okay.
Get your Call of Duty first on Xbox. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. It's like, is that fair? Is it the same thing? Aren't they kind of breaking their parity rule by saying by making these deals with publishers to come to Xbox first and having those timed exclusives? The next Tomb Raider, we don't know how
Well,
long that one's going to be, but it's right now. You're only going to get the next Tomb Raider on Xbox One, at least in
well,
2015.
that's Microsoft paying those companies to get that
But
exclusive.
but my
This
point
is
is,
the
it's
other way
like,
around. This is
but it's like they're saying it's okay for them to go get stuff to put it on their system first,
right.
but they're not gonna allow anybody else to dual, because what if they're cross building a game for PS4 and Xbox One, and they have problems with the Xbox version? Why should they be held up on their PlayStation launch if it works on the PlayStation?
And maybe Microsoft won't hold them up. Maybe they won't hold them up. We don't know that. All they're saying is if you want to be a part of the ID at Xbox, you just have to release your game at the same time as the counterpart. Unless you already have an exclusive deal with that other counterpart. So if say PlayStation's paying this company to say you release your game first on here, Microsoft's cool with that. So all these people that, if they want to release it on PlayStation first, maybe they should go get exclusive deals with PlayStation. Because I've heard that PlayStation loves indie developers, so I'm sure they'll pay all the indie developers to get their games first. And then they can have their out for coming over and using Xbox services. I just see it as people want to, game developers, indie developers, they want to build games, right? And they want to get their game out there to gamers to play.
Absolutely.
Now, they can go and say, I'm only going to do it on PlayStation, or they can say, I'm only going to do it on Xbox. The thing is if they want to do it on both, then all they have to do is release it at the same time. I don't see what the big problem is, because they're using the service. I can't see. I could see PlayStation. I don't know why PlayStation just doesn't ask for the same thing, saying, "Hey, all we ask is within a day or two, you release it on both consoles." That's all I'm saying. I mean, honestly, I don't know. There may be an indie game here or there that people are just dying to run out and get, but I know that I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation 4 for a indie game
True.
or an Xbox. I'll make that clear. I'm not going to buy an Xbox for an indie game. But, Grim Fandango, take Grim Fandango for instance. That is like my favorite game. It's coming out on PlayStation 4. I was really, and Vita. I was just like, oh, what a bummer, that's happening. And, because PlayStation has paid them to get that exclusivity. Oh, by the way, it's coming out on PC. So it's like, oh, good, I'll buy it on PC. It's like I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation just to buy Grim Fandango.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see it. And I can kind of see it in their way. It's just like, think about it. If the indie or if the developer is using resources and everything, development boxes and internet and storage and servers and the cloud, and they're using all these things to build this game for Microsoft, but they're saying, well, yeah, we know we're using all your services, but we'll get to you later. I think that's what they're trying to prevent from happening. And if Sony wants to say, well, we don't have that clause, so you guys can release on our platform no matter whenever you want if you're building it for cross-platform, so good for them. Does that mean that the people are going to go release it on PlayStation first? Or does that mean they can just sit and wait for PlayStation? You know what I mean? I don't see where the big deal is, I guess.
What do you think, Rob?
I see it as a business.
Yeah, something like this. Very good point. It's a business. Stuff like this kind of goes on all the time, everywhere, in lots of different businesses. As an example, you've got a sock company. You make socks. You want your socks sold in Walmart. Well, you're going to go to Walmart. They're going to tell you what colors you're going to make. They're going to tell you probably even like what kind of packaging and labeling you're going to use. They're going to tell you how much they're going to pay for your socks. That's just how it works. If you want your product in their ecosystem, they call the shots. In some degree, Xbox Live is an ecosystem. The ID at Xbox is an ecosystem. If you want your game in Microsoft's ecosystem, they call the shots, not you. Because you're small, they're big, you benefit by having your product in their ecosystem and sold. So having something like this, is it fair? There might be some cases where it might not be. If a company is struggling, they can't get their, they've got one working, the other's not. They might need to work harder to get them both up in sync and both operational. But this kind of stuff goes on all the time, and I don't think it's unfair for Microsoft to say, "Hey, release them at the same time." I don't think that's um, being unreasonable. If they said something like, "You're going to release it on Xbox first, and any other versions, you have to wait 6 months," 6 months later, that's being unreasonable. I
Yeah.
think that's not cool. However, just to ask, if you come out on a Wii, if you come out on whatever, as I assume that this parity clause only really includes PlayStation. I doubt it includes mobile or anything like that, right?
I have no idea how.
Yeah.
As far as I always hear, it's just between the two. But I mean, the funny thing is it doesn't include, like, if I go and release mine on PlayStation, and then I decide to port mine to 360. I don't think Microsoft's saying no.
That's different. Yeah.
I think it's just if they're doing.
Like we like we just had that stick it to the man game. I mean, that really wasn't, I don't think it was ID at Xbox, but that thing came out on PlayStation what, last year? It's like a year
Sure.
ago almost.
Yep.
So that obviously didn't apply. But
Right.
if you're going to be using Microsoft resources like Brun had said, and you want your product in the Microsoft ecosystem, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask same time releases.
Right. And you have, like, in the past on the 360, whatever that developer was who they actually he was in a documentary, and I watched it, and I kind of felt bad for the guy. Like, I forget what game it was. It's some
Is it
kind
the
of like
Braid guy?
puzzle, huh?
No, not Braid,
Is it the
right?
Braid? Well, maybe it is
Jonathan
him.
Blow.
Okay, that's the
He
Braid
he
guy though.
left. He won't. He's not even developing for any Microsoft platform. See, that's
Yeah.
that's kind of my
Yeah,
thought. Is I've heard of developers that are like they don't like this, so they're not even going to develop on the Xbox One at all.
sure, great.
Well,
So,
they're hurting themselves.
well,
Are they?
but are is the consumer, are us, losing out on potentially really good titles because of the parity clause? That's kind of where I'm looking at it. You know,
And I understand. I agree with you on that. Are we missing out on things for that? But with the whole Jonathan Blow, like, well, I'm not going to develop on 360 anymore because I don't like it. Blah 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 blah. Well, you know what?
that's just a whiny baby.
He can take his $1 billion whiny rear end and go over to the PlayStation. And when he makes a good game that I
Yeah,
want to play,
exactly.
that makes me want to go spend $400 for a console.
Yeah, right
I'll go
on.
do that. But if he wants to reach out past the 10 million PlayStation 4s to another, 6 or 7 million people who may not have a PlayStation 4 and make another $1 billion, he'll make his decision there. But if he's happy with the money he's making and the company he's with, then he's happy.
Right.
Who cares? And if I feel like I'm really missing out on his fantastic games, then I'll go over there and buy one. And I'm being honest. Like, if he makes a fantastic game
If
that I just have to have, then I'll find a way to play it. But as
okay.
far as this little bickering, to me, it's just PlayStation paid him to bicker about it. I just don't know. And the same thing goes for people that develop for Xbox. If you're not developing for PlayStation for some off the wall reason, you're just costing yourself money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all on you. So if I had to do it, I would probably, if I developed a game, I'd put it out on as many platforms as possible. If I had to start anywhere, I'd start with the PC because typically it'd be free. But if I wanted to do it on Xbox, and Xbox is like, "Hey, are you going to release it on PlayStation?" I said, "Sure, I am." They say we have to do it at the same time. I'd be like, "Okay,
You plan
I'll
for
do
that.
any, I'll do anything I have to do to make money." So,
Exactly. I mean, you would
yeah,
basically begin your development cycle so you have excuse me, so you have it ready on both platforms simultaneously. I mean,
yeah,
you'll shoot for that goal instead of I'm going to dump all my resources into platform X first and then worry about the one after. I mean, you'll
yeah,
equally do that.
yeah. Working on a mobile app right now. We're releasing on Android and iOS and Windows, but we're kind of, Windows is in the back seat. But we planned it that way. We said these have to be on these two systems because they're the biggest two out there, and we're not going one way and not the other.
Right.
So, I
'Cause,
mean,
like if you were develop only for iOS, you'll be losing out on the,
oh,
tens of millions of Android.
yeah,
And if you developed only for Android, you'd be missing on all those people with iOS that just buy everything.
right. Yep. So, but I do understand like kind of where Mark's come from, where Wings come from, where it's,
Sure.
are we missing out on big games? But we are talking the people that are developing for ID at Xbox. And I'm not writing those games off as not being good games because I know I buy indie games and play them myself.
Lots of good
But
stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, but you know, I really, really want to have it, before I go buy it. But that's a good topic though. I like that one. I like all the people, kind of in a, basically saying that Microsoft doesn't like indie developers when it's just like, well, Microsoft's a company and they're not going to give you crap for free. So, and I mean, if Sony's giving all this stuff away for free and not making people sign contracts and stuff like that, then that just blows my mind that they would do that. I mean, if that's the case, I'll sign up to act like I'm going to develop a game. So maybe Sony will send me a dev box that I'll just use as a PlayStation 4. So, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't
Right.
work that way.
That's a very good point that you made, Brun, where these companies do everything for dollar signs. They don't do anything to be nice. They don't do anything to be mean. It's about money. It's
Yeah,
about the bottom line today and looking forward a year or more.
yeah,
And that's how all of them work.
yep, very true.
All right.
Yep.
Well said. All right. So moving into our community. Oh, just so you guys know, you're both wrong. Moving into the community section. I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
I'm just kidding.
No,
We do have a Facebook group. You can join us and chat with fellow TXL members. Go to facebookgroup.com/groups/this Xbox Life. Of course, we have email, contact at thisxboxlife.com. And we actually did get an email this week from Pat Ward 89. He said, "Guys, there's a charity for gamers called Extra Life that donates to children's hospitals. It's like a walk or run relay charity where you get sponsors to donate, except the event is a 24-hour gaming session. I think TXL as a group could raise a substantial amount of money for this great charity, all while doing what we love to do. I urge you to listen to the most recent episode of a specific podcast in order to learn more, and hopefully TXL can make a difference in some people's lives." Um, Pat, we obviously I haven't spoken to the other guys about this, but it's something that comes up every year, and we've just never
hmm
done it. Not really sure why. Lately, I don't have the time to invest in looking into this or promoting it, just simply because we're trying to get our technical issues resolved. But I don't know. Do you guys think this is something we want to do? I mean, I'm not against it. It's just, do we have the time and resources to do this?
I'm trying to remember when, because it's usually what happens is we never find out until almost when it's like the week before it's starting.
Yeah, I think that happened to us a year or two ago. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, it already started. It's too late to get in. So,
yeah, and a lot of times it's big gamers and stuff. They're like, well, I'm already donating to IGN, or I'm already donating to Giant Bomb, or
right.
or Penny Arcade or Bungie, and I mean, it's just there's a lot of things like that. I will say that I really do like this charity though that he's mentioning, because the Children's Miracle Network, the hospital that I work at, is in the Children's Miracle Network. So, um, and I actually get to see kind of what some of these charities and where this money goes to and how it's used for the kids, and it's really really awesome.
Well,
So
good news is it actually starts whenever you want it to. I just found out.
okay,
I'm reading the
so they don't
site
have a
now, so
set
there's
date this
there's not
time.
a set date, and I guess they've changed that because it always used to be. When I heard about it, it was a set time frame that people were doing it. But they said it's anytime you want. You just set a date and find a time that works with your schedule and start playing.
Hmm.
If you can make it, our National Game Day will begin exactly at 8 a.m. Central Time on Saturday, October 25th,
Okay.
and ends at 8 a.m. on Sunday, October 26th. So, okay, so they do have a day that is coming up that is specifically for that. But we'd have to do another day. I myself can't do that day.
Yeah, me either.
So I already have several things already scheduled that day. In fact, two of them I can't even do one because two of them are scheduled at the exact same time. So I'm trying to figure that one out. But we could set this up and do one. Um, Maybe that's something we'll have to take a look at.
Yeah.
So we could always. I think we can pick your hospital too. So we could always pick the hospital you're at, Brun.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I was just actually looking to see uh, which
I mean,
hospitals
we can
are in
figure
there.
it out offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we'll take a look at that,
Okay.
and but it won't be for this next within the next 2 weeks. But thank you for the email.
Yep.
All right. We also moving on. We do have a Twitter account. It's twitter.com/this Xbox Life. We also have a voicemail. If you want to leave us a voicemail and have your voice in the show, go to our website, click the microphone on the right hand side to leave us a voicemail. And that leaves us into new releases.
Right on. Okay, so for this week, we have a bunch of stuff for the Xbox 360, starting off with the very scary and creepy and weird and strange The Evil Within. Also, Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is out from Telltale Games. And F1 2014. That's a racing game, just in case you didn't know. For Xbox One, we have The Walking Dead, the entire series of season one, coming out for Xbox One. Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition. Definitive edition of a pretty darn good game
Yep.
that was out on. Was one of the free games for the 360 about a year ago. And again, the creepy, strange, weird, The Evil Within, coming for Xbox One. And who knows what else Major Nelson is going to announce over the next week. But those are the main titles.
Where can one buy those titles there, Rob?
That's a very good, very good, very good question. So if you wanted to purchase, I'm looking here, if you wanted to purchase SD cards and video games and tissue paper, you can head on over to thisxboxlife.com/Amazon. Click on the Amazon link over there on the page. It'll take you to Amazon with our affiliate link attached. And then you could get all of your fun stuff and support your favorite podcast.
You can buy
as
an
well.
Xbox One there too, I believe.
Yes, you can.
In case anybody still doesn't have one.
Run.
So. All right.
Sorry. I'm
All right,
trying.
Nighthawk. Get him, Nighthawk.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Working him. So, all right.
Tell them how awesome it is.
Well, that's it. You guys got anything else?
No, sir.
No.
Alrighty. Well, as always, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate your feedback. Let us know how we did this week, and we will talk to you guys next week. I am Mark, aka Wingman709, taking off.
I'm Rob, also known as Presar. Thanks for listening, everybody. Catch y'all next week.
And Brun BJ Spook 33. Have a good one.